up and had made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. I ran up all these bands up and had made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up and had made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up and had made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up and had made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up and had made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me.
Testing. Testing 1 2 testing 1. Okay, we're here. There we go. Let's get a round of applause. Okay, we were having some technical difficulties. I'm over here talking to myself. That's why it's always good, guys. As you're coming in the room, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button to let me know that we've got everything squared away. Support us in the algorithms, and it's free. So be sure to hit the thumbs up button to support us, to support the channel. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to smash the subscribe button for content just like this. Listen, we got an interesting conversation tonight. So I'm excited we can get right into it. I'm a little bit early tonight. I wanted to start early because we're going to have to end a little early. Got to handle some family business, right? But we had a few things that I wanted to report on. You know, it was a long weekend. It was Labor Day weekend. So I had to spend some time, get some work done, get some business done, do some things for the family, run some errands. So I was unable to touch on these topics. Now, on Friday, California had a setback as far as the reparations movement. They decided that they would not push two very important reparations bills until the next session, which won't be until next year, 2025. So we're going to break down that topic. And we're also going to address the fact that and Coulter has recently made some headlines acknowledging a lot of the rhetoric that the foundational Black Americans have been saying recently. You know, the Supreme Court recently overturned affirmative action, or should I say quotas, as far as their college admissions. They said that race cannot be a factor in approving or bequeathing Harvard admittance. It cannot be a factor. Race cannot be considered. And people were looking at foundational Black Americans as if we were going to be heartbroken over this, as if we were going to be out protesting or complaining about this. But they were surprised when foundational Black Americans were like, good. Originally, affirmative action, these DEI theories were supposed to be mechanisms to even the playing field as far as the suffering that foundational Black Americans have gone through and the preferential treatment that white folks have received over foundational Black Americans. But because it was so diluted with terms of minority, see that minority, that catch-all phrase, which we are now replacing with foundational Black Americans, that catch-all phrase of minority was used to dilute the benefits that were supposed to go to foundational Black Americans. Instead of it being an equalizer, what ended up happening is a lot of these other groups from foreign countries, immigrants, white women, these other groups, homosexuals, LGBTQ, all these other groups were able to gain benefits under the heading of being a minority, despite having none of the setbacks that the foundational Black Americans exclusively and specifically had to face. And Coulter, similar to foundational Black Americans, have started to call this out. And the reason I want to highlight this, I'm going to play a clip so you guys know exactly what I'm referring to. The reason this is important is because it's showing that awareness is spreading. Awareness is spreading. See, in 2024 and beyond, no presidential candidate can be elected without addressing the foundational Black Americans as a specific group. In 2024 and beyond, no presidential candidate can be elected without being asked at least one question on the record what his or her stance is on reparations. See, when the reparations movement started picking up steam just a few short years ago, when the reparations movement started picking up steam, a lot of people were in denial. A lot of people were laughing at us. Oh, it'll never happen. This is still a racist institution. They'll never give reparations. They said the same thing to slaves about freedom. They said the same thing to our parents and grandparents during integration. But they told us, oh, it'll never happen. Forget about it. It's divisive. But when they saw we were not moving off of that square, when we saw, wait, they actually have a point. There is actual logic behind the argument that foundational Black Americans should be looked at and considered a specific and unique group, similar to the tribes, the Native American tribes. Not only that, but the reparations movement, as long as it's founded on a lineage and not race, that demand has some legitimacy. See, they weren't expecting foundational Black Americans to stick to that square. They can just laugh us off of it, shame us out of it, but they didn't anticipate the coupling of a political agenda, which is reparations, and the delineation movement, which is a cultural movement. See, now those things are connected. Now those things are linked. Culture and politics are now linked thanks to the FBA, delineation, reparations movements. Okay? Similar to what the LGBTQs were doing as far as shifting the culture on their behalf in the early 2000s, early and mid 2000s. They were making a cultural shift and coupling that cultural shift with what? Gay marriage. They were saying, hey, we are a culture. This is the LGBTQ culture. We are delineating, we are specific to our culture, and we have a political agenda, which is we want to legalize gay marriage. See, at its height, that was the strength of the LGBTQ movement. The fact that they were coupling their culture, the LGBTQ culture, with a political agenda being gay marriage. Now that gay marriage is gone or already been approved and legalized, a lot of that momentum that the LGBTQ community had, it's sort of dissipated because now they've got to push to the trans movement because gay people have nothing else to complain about. What political policies is it that is affecting gay people now that they've gotten gay marriage? They've sort of dissipated. Now they've got to hide behind the transsexuals, the transformers, and that's a whole nother story. But the point there is the coupling of culture and a political agenda is very powerful. It's very powerful. And that is exactly what the foundational Black Americans are doing now. We're coupling the culture, the delineation movement, the specific and unique group of foundational Black Americans with the political agenda, which is reparations. And now that the two are coupled and growing, the ideology is spreading, awareness is spreading. It's a can that can't be closed. Now that it's like the Pringles, once it pops, you just can't stop. It's open, it's spreading, and you can no longer contain it until this thing is addressed. So without further ado, let's get into some of the clips here. Let's get into some of the clips. First of all, we're going to bring up Ann Coulter. And mind you, just to give you some context, Ann Coulter is a Republican. She's a Make America Great Again Republican with very racist, openly racist tendencies. I'm giving you some context here. This is the same woman who told Vivek Ramaswamy, even though I agree with 98% of your platform, I would never vote for you because you're an Indian. To his face, she said that. I agree with your policies, I agree with your platform, and I would never vote for you because you're an Indian. She said that to his face on the record. All right, so this is an openly racist right-wing Republican, and I'm saying that for a reason, because now I'm going to get into the reasoning in a bit. But let's first watch the video. Check this out.
Well, I write about this a little bit in my book, Mugged, about racial demagoguery, and also in Adios America about immigration. And that is, the important point he should have made is that the entire purpose of affirmative action, set-asides, civil rights laws that limit constitutional rights to freedom of contract, freedom of association, all of that was to make up for the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. So unless these benefits are going to, roughly defined, foundational Black Americans, the descendants of American slaves, you've taken away the whole purpose of this. And that is exactly what's happened once we got this huge load of immigrants. Now, a Thai who arrived on...
First of all, I want to pause it here. So far, what she's saying is exactly right. She's calling out the foundationally Black Americans as a name. The fact that she's repeating the rhetoric, the label of foundational Black Americans, it shows that right-wing Republicans are listening. Ann Coulter's not alone. If she knows about it, then there's a lot of mainstream Republicans that know about it as well. Donald Trump questioning Kamala Harris's blackness. These things are not happening just out of nowhere. These things are all connected. They are listening to our rhetoric, they're listening to our conversations, and the message is spreading. And what she's saying as far as affirmative action and these different policies that were supposed to be corrective actions for slavery being diluted and going to all of these other groups who came here willingly. The United States government doesn't owe anybody who came here willingly anything. But these policies that were supposed to go to the people who the United States does owe have been diluted, which is why reparations to replace DEI, to replace affirmative action policies. Reparations is specific and it goes to one lineage, not everyone to be diluted and to benefit from, Not everyone to come and replacement theory, replace foundational Black Americans, replace the white Americans competing. You're bringing in competition for the white Americans. The Republicans are upset about this, rightfully so. See, now the Republicans are starting to acknowledge reparations, and reparations all of a sudden, when you go with the Make America Great Again platform, reparations there's starting to be some overlap between the foundational Black Americans and Republicans. And that's important when you talk about leverage. We're going to talk about the Democrats stalling on reparations movement in California, but already the Democrats are starting to get some momentum. The Democrats are already acknowledging reparations, but now we're getting the Republicans to acknowledge reparations, which means, this is starting to be some overlap, some bipartisan. There's beginning to be some bipartisan agreement as far as the delineation, as far as the difference between foundational Black Americans and all of these other groups. The Democrats are already starting to acknowledge that, but the Republicans are just now getting on board, and that is helping us gain leverage, us gain momentum. Let's watch a little bit more of what Ann Coulter has to say.
On Wednesday, we'll get an advantage applying to college, applying to corporations over a heterosexual white male in particular. That's the biggest hate group. But any white American, and all of the civil rights laws have been, and affirmative action and so on, have been twisted into just anti-white hatred and open, egregious discrimination. So to make the point that Kamala isn't a foundational Black American. I'm always pointing out to Black people, hey, have you noticed Indians are getting all the good diversity jobs? What did we do to Indians? We didn't enslave them. I mean, most of these immigrants coming in, 90% of legal immigrants are from the third world. And mostly we've just run around saving them from earthquakes and tornadoes and coups and starvation. You know, they owe us. We don't owe them. But to switch from...
See, now she's starting to go off onto a racist rant. Listen, I'm not saying all that stuff about Indians. I'm not saying they're running around in filth and they're just happy to be here. But the fact of the matter is correct. The United States government does not owe, I'm talking about Indians from India. We don't owe the Indians from India affirmative action. The United States government has done nothing to disenfranchise the Indians coming from India. If they're allowed into the country, they should be happy to be here. They should be happy to be here. They have come here willingly. They were allowed into the country where they can experience a better standard of living. They should be happy to be here. They are not owed affirmative action or corrective actions stemming from the plight of the foundational Black Americans. So she goes off into a racist tirade here, but the foundation of what she's saying is not far off. And I just want to point out, I don't even know if I want to listen to the rest of her racist tirade, but I want to point out the fact that our message is spreading. The message is spreading. The difference is the specificity, the fact that foundational Black Americans are a specific and unique group who have specific and unique political demands. That message is being driven home. The Republican Party in particular has a reason, because see what the Republicans are looking to do. They're looking to capitalize and drive a wedge between the Black vote and the Democratic Party. They see that there's some faltering. They see that there's some division. They see there's some delineation going on between the foundational Black Americans and the Democratic Party. The Republican Party sees that. And what they're doing now is, if they've got to pick a side, they're looking at the foundational Black Americans like, okay, maybe we can use that. Maybe we can use the rhetoric that you all are saying, because you have a point. We're trying to put Americans first. They call it MAGA, Making America Great Again. They're trying to put Americans first. Now, if the foundational Black Americans are saying, we are Americans, we've been here from the beginning, and we're not like all these other groups, these Johnny-come-latelys who are coming here trying to dilute our vote, trying to dilute our... They're making Trump for saying the term black jobs. They're laughing at us for saying that we want black jobs. You're laughing at us for wanting jobs? I'm black, and you're laughing at me saying I'm mad, I'm wrong for wanting black jobs? No, black jobs is a thing. Black jobs is any job that a black person is capable and willing to do. That's a black job. That's a black job. And if Trump is saying that he wants to save, preserve, and give black jobs, the NABJ looks stupid and counterintuitive for laughing and dismissing that fact. Shots fired. What kind of association for black journalism? How can you call yourself a black journalist, but then dismiss the fact that a presidential candidate is promising black jobs? You're going to laugh at him? You're going to belittle him? You're going to dismiss that? I want to hear more about the black jobs that Donald Trump is proposing. I want to hear more about that. I want to hear more about that. And the Republicans, shout out to the Republicans, y'all, because I am not a Republican, but you Republicans out there within the sound of my voice ought to be capitalizing on the opportunity at hand. There is a rather large black, especially black men, but black men and women, there's a large delineation movement going on right now where black Americans are saying America first. Put Americans first. Black Americans are a specific group. We are not pushing these open border policies. We're not pushing this rainbow cult in our schools. We have a lot of conservative values, and we as a particular group are deserving of reparations, not diluted affirmative action and diluted DEI theories and ideologies. See, the Republican Party can capitalize on that. I know that there's a lot of overlap between what the Republicans believe as far as protecting our borders, pushing the rainbow cult out of our schools, pushing it out of our main society, stop the mainstreaming of this rainbow cult. There's a lot of overlap there. The foundation of Black Americans saying we're specific and we are against, to go so far as to have a significant population of black people saying dismiss, overturn affirmative action, and we're not concerned about it. We hope you do. You overturning affirmative action strengthens our position as far as reparations. Huh? We're going for that. And the Republicans can capitalize by reaching out to that demographic. Now, salute. I haven't even read it yet. I know that Brandon Sophia always has something to say. Sometimes we get into some disagreements. Sometimes we agree. So salute and shout out to Brandon Sophia. Let's see what she has to say. She says, FBA got a few weeks to decide, and everything that they hold dear will not matter when more are expected to be marginalized in this deeply politically divided country. California officials. Yeah. Well, when we're going to get into that in a bit, as far as the Democratic session is closed now. So reparations, the two important bills for reparations will not be passed until next year. I think they wanted to hold off because they didn't want that passing in California because they thought that it would hurt Kamala Harris and the Democrats in the overall presidential elections. So they're like, okay, listen, we're going to get you the reparations bills. Just wait on it. But we got to get past this election first. I think that's really what it amounts to. But we're going to get into that. California officials destroyed further support of reparations. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. See, I had a bishop down in Georgia. You know, most people have pastors, reverends. Well, there's a bishop. A bishop means you're over a number of churches. I had a bishop. I'm not going to put his name out here. But my bishop told me something back before I went into law school. He told me delayed is not denied. Okay, delayed is not denied. The fact that reparations bills were delayed in California, that's not the same as it being denied. Reparations, mark my words, will pass in California. Yeah, it's coming. It's on the way. Mark this video. Save it into your watch later videos playlist. Save this video and mark my words. Reparations will pass California. It was delayed. It was delayed. This is a presidential year, presidential election year. They didn't want reparations passing and then all the red states to say, see, the radical Democratic agenda, they're giving these naggers reparations. They didn't want that narrative getting out in the presidential election. They said, hey, listen, Governor Gavin Newsom made a phone call. Hey, listen, I got some concerns. Just save it for next year. Save it. We'll talk about it. Just save it for next year. So he delayed it. We want to talk about that too, but he didn't deny it. It's coming back because the people like me, people who are living out in California, they're not giving up. You think this, oh, well, it didn't pass this year. I guess it's not going to happen. Let's give up. Oh, no. People, especially foundational Black Americans, when we get on something, when we decide, oh, this is what we're doing, oh, we're stubborn people. We are a very stubborn people. We will not give up easily. We've decided that reparations will pass. And we get on code. We come to an agreement that this is what we're saying. This is what we want. We're going to move heaven and earth. We're going to move heaven and earth. You can't stop it. You cannot stop it. Yeah. So let's check this out. And this is, matter of fact, okay, let's go into that. Since you're bringing up California reparations, let's go into that. So this is a quick news alert. We're going to watch this video to give shout out to Brandon Sophia. I'm not sure everybody in the chat, everybody watching the video is aware of the situation we're talking about. So let's go ahead and watch this news segment, and then we'll talk about it in a bit. Y'all check this out. Give you some context.
That's right, Orko. This has been the big story mainly all day here. California's Legislative Black Caucus, which represents the Black members of the state legislature, confirmed that lawmakers will not move forward with those two key proposals. The first, SB 1403, which would establish a state agency to oversee the state's reparations efforts. The other, SB 1331, that would establish a state fund for reparations. So the blocking of these bills has angered protesters who've been in the Capitol Rotunda all day, yelling at lawmakers in the Assembly to bring the bills up for a vote. State Senator Stephen Bradford said Governor Newsom's office asked him to make changes to the bill that would establish the state agency and to instead turn it into a study of reparations recommendations by the University of California. Bradford would not accept the changes, and he says the Legislative Black Caucus is afraid of the veto. But the leader of the Legislative Black Caucus, Assemblymember Lori Wilson, denied this. Bradford told us, though, the bills have the votes.
We're at the finish line. And I think we as a Black Caucus owe it to the descendants of chattel slavery. We owe it to Black Californians and Black Americans to move this legislation forward and get it to the governor's desk.
Now, nothing is final until the gavel drops here at midnight, but it's unlikely that these bills will.
So as you can see, sorry about that, guys. As you can see, even though the bills were delayed, the people were out there protesting, and the people are not going to give up. The people are not going to give up. Governor Gavin Newsom put in a phone call. He said, you know, there's some things I've got concerns about, but so the people were saying whether he agrees and supports it or not, pass the bills because it has the votes in the House and it has the bill, it has the votes. The question is, will Gavin Newsom veto it? See, we have the power to put Gavin Newsom and any governor in California, of course it's a Democratic state, but we've got the power to put them in a hot seat. If the Congressional Black Caucus really wanted to, they could have passed that legislation and said, we dare you to deny it. We dare you to veto it. And see if that, see what the repercussions is as far as the Democrats, the Black support for the Democrats, if a Democratic governor was to veto reparations, and months before, because we're already in September, 2 months before a presidential election. See, now that would be a headline. Democratic governor vetoes reparations bill, which passed. That would be a hell of a headline. So that's what they're trying to avoid. They're saying, okay, well, look, we need you to pull it. We need you to pull it. And guess what? The Congressional Black Caucus did. Right? They did. See, and that's one thing about it. That's one thing about it. We need more fighters. We need more people who are in these political positions of power who will actually fight and say, yeah, I know you want us to pull this bill. I know it could be politically damaging to you and the party overall, but we're going to push this anyway. We're going to put you in the fire. We're going to hold your feet to the fire. We're going to fight for our people to get what they're demanding, to get what they need. We need more people. We need more people of that type of integrity, that type of elk, that type of strength to join politics, to join all of our institutions, really. All right. But yeah, it was delayed. It was delayed. It was delayed. And already there's some Californians out there saying, looking at the Democrats funny, looking at Gavin Newsom funny, looking at the Democrats saying, okay, Kamala already told us what she's not going to do for us. Now, Gavin Newsom, y'all had us set up this study. Y'all had us study reparations. We studied reparations. We came to a conclusion. Now, let's implement the solutions which the study provided. Let's implement the solutions. See, now it's like, we can't stall anymore. We can't just stall with the study. We can't just say, oh, well, we're studying reparations. Well, we've done the study. Now what? Now what? Study's done. Here's the solution. Let's implement the solution. See, I love it. Whether the reparations bill was delayed or not, I think the foundational Black Americans are in a wonderful place right now. We really are in a position of power, and a lot of us just don't know it. A lot of us are just so stuck on the Democratic plantation, just this narrow line of thinking. And I would, a lot of us are so narrow-minded that we don't really see the bigger picture. We don't see all of the different areas that we have influence of. But as the message continues to spread, as more and more people come to the way of thinking of the foundational Black Americans, as the foundational Black Americans start to wake up, because this term, foundational Black Americans, there's people, you don't understand, not everybody is on YouTube. Not everybody is on Twitter. There's a lot of people in this world, in this country, who they're going to work. They're trying to spend time with their kids. They're watching Netflix. They don't know anything about foundational Black Americans. Their level of political awareness. See, I'm over here talking about politics with you guys all the time. So I know that I'm politically active and aware. I know that y'all, if you're watching me, that you enjoy this type of conversation. And if you do enjoy the conversation, hit the thumbs up button. But if we're listening to us, if you're listening to this conversation, then I know that you're interested in politics and different political perspectives as well. But there's a significant portion of the population of America who's not interested in politics. There's Black folks who don't even know that they're foundational Black Americans. There's who don't even know that the term foundational Black Americans exists. There's Black folks who don't know that reparations is feasible. They don't know that a reparations movement is currently taking place. See, and that's why I give people I try, especially in real life. See, right now we're on the internet. Right now, this is just the internet. This is fake life. But in real life, I give people the benefit of the doubt. In real life, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I know that it's just a matter of time. See, one thing about it, we've got the browning of America. We've got nothing but time. Foundational Black Americans have been here from the start. And we're moving into some perilous times. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. But we're not going anywhere. And we're built. We're built for it. We're built for it. I got one more clip I want to play. But first, let's read a couple more of these comments. Because I know Branded Sophia has some smart things to say. Let's see what Branded Sophia had to say. It says, okay, so you agree that master has to eat before his slaves do. Excuse me. I don't think there are any slaves in the United States right now. I'm free. I don't know about you. I don't know if you're black. I don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, leave it in the comment section. Where are you from, Brandon Sophia? Are you black? Are you black, Brandon Sophia? Sorry I had to tell you this fact. All right, well. Cali disappointed FBAs in whatever nativity Black Americans movement represent. No, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed. I think that it's good that we're getting people on record. We're getting people on the record. See, a lot of people have never been in sales. One thing about it, you got to go into sales. You got to get sales experience. When you get some sales experience, you realize that every no is just one step closer to a yes. When I got fresh out of college, I was into fundraising for a nonprofit organization, which again will remain nameless. And one of the things we had to do was we had to solicit donations. We had to go and talk to people. I'm talking about just out on the street. Hey, excuse me, sir, could I talk to you for a second? Excuse me, miss, quick question for you. We had to go out and talk to people to earn funds for this nonprofit organization, doing some good work in Africa. And when you notice, you start to get your law of averages. You'll start to see, okay, if I talk to 10 people, let's say six of them probably won't even, if I say, excuse me, sir, excuse me, miss, 6 of them not even going to acknowledge me. 4 of them will acknowledge me. Of those 4, 2 of them will listen to my whole speech. Of the 2 who listen to my whole pitch, 1 of them will sign. So ultimately, you're looking at 1 in 10. Now, I'm just keeping round numbers here. That wasn't really my breakdown, but I'm just giving you some round numbers to understand the principle. Ultimately, you've got 1 out of 10 people who are going to sign up with you. If those are your numbers, then you realize that each no, it's okay if you talk to the first one and they dismiss you. It's okay if you talk to the second one and they heard part of your speech and then cut you short and said they have to go. It's okay to get those delays because you know that at the end of the day, you only have a few more times to press, a few more doors to knock, a few more phone calls to make before you get your yes. So, Brandon Sophia, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed at all. Hey, I think it's progress. It's getting reparations back in the news stream. It's getting news segments talking about reparations, whether it be a delay or not. It's getting the headline out there. It's getting awareness. It's getting us to talk about it. It's getting the conversation of reparations more attention. So people can say, aha, reparations got denied. Aha, reparations got delayed in California. You're never going to get it. Yeah, but we got you thinking about it. We got you acknowledging reparations. We got you here talking about it and listening to it. We got you here focused on reparations. That's a win in and of itself. That's a win. The fact that it was delayed has everyone talking about it, and that's still a win. So no, I'm not disappointed. Well, this Cali move should make other states proposing reparations go harder for their population of blacks. Exactly. Here in D.C., y'all know I'm a Washington native, local. Yeah. In D.C., we've got a reparations movement of our own. Yeah, it's a lot of woke folks in D.C. A lot of conscious cats in D.C. So yeah, we got a lot of local. We've got reparations on the local level going right now. However, no one is willing, showing that blacks for reparations have no real support. I agree with you there. There's not a lot of support for reparations. Even a lot of black people are still unbelievers. That's okay. That's okay. I always ride with the underdogs. Right now, it might look like a far shot, but I'm going to stay on the team reparations for now. and we'll see where things end. All right, I got one more clip before I get out of here that I want to play, and this is just to further show you the fact that there's no hiding from reparations anymore. See, Kamala Harris was getting a lot of pushback for her clip saying, I'm not going to do anything only for black people. No. See, people got that clip and ran with it. That moment has gone mega viral. Everybody is aware that Kamala Harris is on record saying she will not do anything for black people. But see, this clip that I'm about to show hasn't gotten as much attention. This is Kamala Harris this year.
But in the area of reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved, if you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that
Huh? So Kamala Harris is already acknowledging that if and when she's elected president, she would sign reparations. Now, of course, she's hiding behind the fact that reparations is not in a position to pass National Congress, House, and Senate. So that is an unlikely scenario within her term. So she's hiding behind that. That's the quiet part. She's not going to say. She's not going to tell you is, yeah, if it comes to my desk, I'd sign it, but it'll never come to my desk. See, that's what she's hiding behind. But the fact that she was forced to even acknowledge reparations and go on the record saying that if it was to gain enough momentum to pass to her desk, would she sign it? She was forced to say yes. See, because before we know what she would have said. No, I'm not going to do anything for black people. No. She would have said reparations, for only black people. That I wouldn't support that. We need reparations for all people. See, if you would have asked her that 10 years ago, she would have used a catch-all phrase. Oh yeah, we need reparations for all disenfranchised people. But see, she can't do that anymore because the delineation movement is getting strong. People are standing on it. We're not deviating from it. We're staying on code. We're staying on topic. We're staying on message. And whether you like it or not, when you've got a lot of voices that are focused, I think they did a study where they said only 10% of the masses, once an idea reaches 10% of the population, that idea is unstoppable. It's impossible to mask or hide an idea once 10% of the population has held on to it. Let me tell you something. Black Americans represent about roughly 14% of the population. But when you're counting the foundation of Black Americans, excluding the Africans, the Haitians, the Caribbean islanders, the more recent, quote unquote, African Americans, I'd say you're still looking at about 12%, 10 to 12%. With that population, we're getting on code. It's people like me waking up the older generation, waking up my mother and my aunties and my uncles and my cousins. And it's other people with their YouTube channels or their Thanksgiving dinners and their Sunday brunches and it's not just me here spouting my stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of people just like me. I've got friends sending me stuff on Instagram all the time. I know that they're thinking the same way I'm thinking. This message is spreading. It's spreading, and it's going to spread within us first. Us black people have to acknowledge. Us foundational Black Americans, a lot of foundational Black Americans still don't even know that there's this reparations movement that is gaining real national momentum. So we've got to wake ourselves up first. But as we continue to wake ourselves up, wake up our parents and our grandparents, wake up our sons and our daughters, the next generation. See, those older generations who were not aware, who's not on the internet, who's not on Instagram, who's not on YouTube, they're going to age out. But see, us folks who are in our young adult phases, 20s, 30s, 40s, as we get older, we're going to teach the knowledge that's commonplace between you and I. We're going to be having these conversations with our kids, and they're going to be growing up in a totally different world. See, it might have taken 30 some years for me to get a hold of the reparations movement, but my son will be born into the philosophy of foundational Black Americans. See, I was a foundational Black American from birth, meaning my parents and grandparents, they descended from slaves, but I didn't know that we were a specific and unique group. I was 30-something years old before that seed grew. But see, from birth, my son has that. That's the power. That's the power of a spreading idea. And let me tell you something, that idea will not be going away. Delayed is not denied. It's only going to spread. It's only going to get bigger. That's something I can guarantee you. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Let's read some final comments before we get up out of here. Back to Brandon Sophia. He says, showing that well, I can admire you still digging your heels in support for reparations. Salute to you, Brandon Sophia. I know we don't always agree 100%, but you at least seem like a fair. you argue in fairness, and you always come back for more. So I appreciate you supporting the channel. However, I feel that many blacks will have to be sacrificed by both parties to ease their constituents. That's deep. That's deep. This is scary, and I see some young blacks try to question Kamala about it. That's an interesting comment right there. That's something I might have to think about. Some young blacks will have to be sacrificed by both parties to ease their constituents. If you think about the foundational Black Americans being the constituents, and you're saying both parties would have to fight for the foundational Black Americans' vote, then there's a significant portion of the population, like the illegal immigrants, for example, who would have to be sacrificed by both parties. I don't know who the Republican Party would have to sacrifice. That's deep. I'll have to think about that one. But listen, guys, shout out once again to Brandon Sophia. Shout out and cheers to you. I appreciate everyone rocking with us tonight. I think we had a pretty good conversation. We're going to have to keep this one short. Got to handle some family business. So once again, salutes to everyone who stayed with us to the end. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button to support us in the algorithm. And if it's your first time watching, or if you haven't done so before, be sure to smash the subscribe button for content just like this. As Brandon Sophia said, I'm not giving up on this reparations movement. I'm not giving up. So I'm going to be here standing on reparations until the wheels fall off. So if y'all are foundational Black Americans out there, if y'all are supporting reparations, hey, like iron sharpens iron, like sharpens like, come on back, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation so we can continue to build. And listen, I got some big things popping next year. We've got some big plans for the channel. I'm going to start hitting the protests here in DC. You know, I'm in DC, so all these protests that are coming to DC, I'm going to be there in person. I'm going to be pulling up. I'm going to be pulling up to some of these protests in person, and I'm going to be recording a lot of that stuff. So we got some big plans for the channel. Be sure to get in on the ground level. Be sure to subscribe now, because we're only going up, guys. Hey, shout out to y'all. See you on the next one. Peace.
Like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan. Now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. I ran up all these bands up and hand made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan. Now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got better,